Okay, so I'm going to go over the homework with you. Sorry I'm not there. Really feel bad about missing so much, but today I had an appointment. I could not come, and so I just thought I'd make a recording for you. Quick review, recap from what you did last time. Graphing exponential functions. First off, when you look at a function to classify exponential growth or decay, you have to find your b. The b is going to always be the value that's attached to the variable. So when your b is greater than 1, you've got growth. When your b is less than 1, it's decay. Find your b. The b for number 1 is 5. 5 is greater than 1, you got growth. Here's a sketch going upward. Look at number 2. Find your b. It's 6 over 5. 6 over 5 is greater than 1 because, it's like one whole and a little bit more. So that's growth, and it's going to be going upward. The next one, your b is 3 over 8. It's less than 1, so decay. It's going to sketch a curve from the top going downward. For number 4 and 5, we are going to identify the parent function and then describe the transformations. The parent function is just the pure function as itself sits, f of x equals the 4 over 5. So here's my parent function right here. But then the transformations are going to come from whatever you see that's been attached to that. Up here, I see x plus 2. Well, x plus 2 is kind of like an opposite thing going on, just like the vertex form where you have a parenthesis and what's in there is really different. Same thing with this. You see x plus 2, that really means that it's been shifted to the left too. So there's your transformation. For number 5, the parent function is just the f of x equals 2 to the power of x. Now, what's attached to that? Well, I see a lot of stuff going on. I see, 1, a negative sign. That tells me I have a reflection. I see next a 3. Well, that 3 tells me that I've got a stretch. Then I see minus 1. Remember, that's the opposite sign. That means I'm going to the right one. Then I see up 7, because that plus 7 at the end tells me I'm going up 7. For numbers 6 and 7, we are graphing and identifying the key characteristics. Okay, so I've taken the liberty of typing in my equations, and then I took a screenshot of my XY table coordinates. Let me zoom in on this. Here are my table points, and I've plotted them here, as you can see. And it's very shaky looking, but you get the gist. I've got a growth function starting, at the bottom right here with my asymptote appearing to approach -7. And a little quick check, you can always double check to make sure you have the right asymptote by looking at the number here attached on the end. That number there is -7, that should be your asymptote. And looky here, it is. So I've got a domain of all the numbers, a range of y is greater than -7, because if you look at your graph, it is above your asymptote. If the entire graph is above the asymptote, then it's a greater than range. For my end behavior, keep in mind, as my x is going to positive infinity, as it's going over to positive infinity, the graph is going up. So the end behavior for that side is going to be positive infinity. But as your x goes to the negative side, it's approaching that asymptote. So then that means the end behavior would be at the -7. Y-intercept is the place where x is 0. You can see what that answer is right there. The asymptote is y equals -7. Same is true for number 7. I've plotted the points from this graph here. Oops, hit the wrong button. From this equation, and here's my table of values. There are the points plotted. You can see here as well that I have got a domain of all real numbers. It's always going to be that. My range here is above that asymptote again, so it's greater than -3. Once more, remember I told you the asymptote, you can just simply look at the number that's right here, and whatever this number is, that should be your asymptote. So since this is -3, my asymptote is at y equals -3. So for the end behavior, when you look on the axis as x is going to positive infinity, the graph is going towards the asymptote, excuse me, so that's going to be -3. But on the other side, as x goes to negative infinity, it's going upward. So you've got positive on that one. Last is the y-intercept. That's where x is 0, so it's 0, 2.938. That's it.